Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today we are going to be making this fun drip nail inspired tumbler. It was a challenge from my Made by Manny and Mal elite group. So if you guys aren't subscribed to her channel, I will link it in the description. Definitely go check it out. But I hope you enjoy, and don't forget to like and subscribe. So to start, we're going to start with a sanded and prepped tumbler. If you need more information on how to sand and prep your tumbler, I do have a video and I will link that below. But I am going to start with this fluorescent pink spray paint and this beige spray paint to create my ombre effect for this nail inspired design. I felt it was super important to make sure that I did spray paint the cup white beforehand so that my fluorescent pink definitely popped and took the right tone that I was looking for. And what you're going to do is the same as you would do when you're creating an ombre. You're going to hold your spray can back, I would say probably about a good foot away from your tumbler, and spray in short bursts. You're going to continue doing this until you've reached your desired ombre effect. Sometimes you may have to pause, let it dry, and come back. That way you don't get drips. And this is especially important because the paint is a main part of our design. From there, before we go into the drips, I am going to apply epoxy, one layer all over my entire cup. For this cup, I used roughly about 15 milliliters of epoxy. I definitely have more mixed here because I was doing multiple cups, but 15 mLs for the first coat of epoxy, and I let that spin until it was fully cured. So dry times are going to vary based upon the epoxy that you are using, so just be sure to check out those dry times for the epoxies that you choose. I'm also going to finish it off by using my torch to pop some bubbles, and once it's dry, we can jump right into our drip. So what I have here is a thickening agent that I got off of Amazon. Counterculture DIY also has a great thickening agent. I personally haven't used it, but I hear rave reviews from other tumbler makers. I am also going to have glitter. I'm using Craftmart's Pale Pink, and I have got some confetti. The glitter that I'm using is Sealed with a Kiss or Swak from Peachy Olive Glitters, and my confetti is from the glitter guy. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I will definitely be sure to link that for you. I also have the thickening agent linked. It worked like a charm. The epoxy I am using, this is my fast set. Now, there is some debate amongst tumbler creators on whether to use a fast set or not. What I'll tell you is if you're doing an epoxy drip, you just want to be sure that you are monitoring it. It is definitely a time-consuming process, but the end result is definitely worth it. I mixed up about 15 milliliters for this particular cup. Hindsight, I wish I had done probably about 20 to 25. While the end result was wonderful, I really did feel like towards the end of it, I was like scraping to finish off the drip around my cup. Once your epoxy is fully mixed, you're going to want to add in your colorant, whether you choose to use acrylic paint, epoxy dye, whatever your preference is. I really like the acrylic paints because it doesn't change the consistency too much, and it allows the thickener to do that. But I just added a little bit there and then mixed it in, and then I took my Sealed with a Kiss from Peachy Olive Glitters, covered the entire top of my epoxy cup and stirred that all in. It gave it the most beautiful sparkle ever. I was just seriously obsessed. From here, we're going to start adding our thickening agent. Now, here would be my recommendation. I was adding probably 2 scoops at a time, mixing, and then testing. A couple things to keep in mind when you're using a thickening agent, whether it's this one from Amazon, Counterculture. Some people use cornstarch and have really great results with that. You just want to make sure, and you'll be able to see, but you'll want to make sure that you are mixing in the for lack of a better word, the clumps. There will be little clumps of the thickening agent. So you'll just press that up against the side of your mixing cup and just stir it in really, really well. I used, like I said, I do about 2 little tiny scoops at a time. Like less really is more. And while you may have to go in and keep adding for a little bit just until you get the consistency that you want, you definitely can't take it away. So just go with less is more. I would rather you guys add in like a whole bunch of small scoops versus a big one and then your epoxy is too thick and it's not going to accomplish what you want it to. So with that, I am going to let this play through for you guys, but I just kept mixing and stirring until it was the thickness that I wanted. Epoxy to the thickness that we're wanting, I'm going to take my silicone stick and I'm going to take the epoxy all across the top rim of the tumbler. The epoxy will start to create its own drips, especially if you put more epoxy in one area than another. It'll give you a little bit more control to play and have a little bit of fun with your drips. Like I said, I only mixed up 15 mLs of epoxy for my drips, and I wished, hindsight, that I had probably about 20 to 25. This would have allowed me to play a little bit more with my drips, but I really did like the end result. Either way, I just know going into my next one. Once I let it set up for about 15 or 20 minutes because I was using a fast set, I added my confetti glitter from the Glitter Guy. I'll make sure to link that below as well. And then I would just watch it and monitor it for a little bit. Because it was a fast set, it did set up faster. So I did have to turn it upside down for a couple minutes here and there, but nothing too tragic babysitting wise. From there, we went into adding our decal and our final layers of epoxy. With the epoxy, I start at the bottom and move my way to the top, and you'll see here that I am like just scooping out in the drip portion of it so that I am taking out any excess, and this will just make sure that there is no epoxy pooling in the drips themselves, which can happen. I also did decide to add a little diamond dust to my final coats of epoxy from PDB. It gave it just the most beautiful shine and shimmer and just complemented everything so well. So I would love to hear what you all think about this cup. If you guys try and recreate one, I would love you guys to tag me in any of your social media. I love seeing what you guys do. But with that, I am just obsessed with how this cup turned out. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support, and I can't wait to see you all next week and on social.